Thank you. Okay, we're going to go to our study session in regard to FIFA Soccer 2026 update. Those of you that have been waiting for this, the public and the board, this is as close as we come to being done for about 3 years worth of work that a lot of groups have done a lot of work on. So I'm going to introduce Aly Breeze, our Emergency Management Director. She's been involved in this at the regional level for quite some time. So if you would, down at the bottom there, push that, there you go. It's all yours.
All right. Good evening. Thank you for having me. I am Aly Breeze, the Emergency Management Director here for the City of Raytown. I've been working with the City of Kansas City and other federal, state, and regional partners in planning. So I attend the regional coordination meetings. So these updates that you'll see are from the last meeting a couple weeks ago. February 13th will be in the next meeting, but this will just give you kind of a high overview of the planning that's going on regionally and also with our departments here in Raytown. I got way ahead of myself here. There. So a little bit about what emergency management, what we do in emergency management is ensure city preparedness, safety procedures, emergencies, disasters, and other large-scale events that happen, all the way to a disaster that's declared. I would work with FEMA and help if there's public assistance or individual assistance approved for that jurisdiction. So there's some of the things. Preparedness is outreach, reaching out to the communities, different entities of the community and doing preparedness outreach, winter weather, extreme heat, things like that. So the FIFA overview. So FIFA will be in town in March. That's when they're going to start building up the stadium and preparing it for the games. Mid-America Regional Council, Mark, is working on resource lists, like a regional resource list. So items like generators, barricades, all those things. So working with the state, reaching out to even our rural areas on what resources they may have for resource sharing in the area. So there were grant funds awarded for the World Cup for Kansas City, and the organization KC 2026 receives those funds, and then they sub-award them out to other jurisdictions. However, $59 million of that was earmarked already for the fire department and police department for equipment and largely overtime backfill hours. They're determining how to reimburse other jurisdictions that are helping too. So if other officers are doing on their off-duty time working the World Cup event for Kansas City, they're working now on how that reimbursement for overtime is going to look, or any other details like that. We should know more next meeting. So during the meeting, a lot of the operational coordination meetings are made up of local partners, state partners, federal partners, and other agencies. So these are some of the things that they were expressing like considerations about and what to do. So extreme heat mitigation, they're looking into misting and cooling stations. KCHEA has offered up a couple of buses as cooling stations. Don't know the exact number or how that's going to look yet, but those are some of the things they're talking about with heat mitigation. Hydration stations, some of the volunteers, MRC, KC, the Medical Reserve Corps, and other, like probably CERT members even would probably be called upon, but to man those hydration stations. Health and medical, of course. The Healthcare Coalition is working with area hospitals on planning for that. There will be a lot of exercises and trainings. There already has been, but they're still talking about even more up until the World Cup starts. Priority communications, transportation and parking. Arrowhead, the last we heard is Arrowhead won't have any parking for game days. So they're busing in and busing out all of the attendees. They have, there is a map, they do have, they're going to identify park and ride spots. So we don't have any locations of those yet, but they do have a transportation plan on transporting from base camps to Arrowhead, hotel to airport and things like that. The next operational coordination meeting will be February 13th. Attendance, and they anticipate roughly 650,000 people over the course of the 45 days. Say about 60,000 per game. Fan Fest will be held at World War I Memorial, or Museum and Memorial, and they plan on having probably 7 different Fan Fest events throughout that time period. There will only be 25,000 people allowed at a time into the Fan Fest. So they'll rotate out. When people leave, other people can go in. The Royals will still be holding home games during the World Cup. They just won't be having the games on the match days. So here is the calendar now. Who's playing and what date? So June 16th is the first game. July 11th is the last. All evening games. Games can go up to 2 hours, about an hour and a half. If there's overtime, they can go up to 2 hours long. So it might be a little hard to see, but I have copies of this if anybody is interested. This is the transportation route that they have so far. And they've contracted with Connect KC26 to provide coach buses for this particular transportation. They'll go as far west as Lawrence, Kansas, to Independence Lee Summit area. So some of the things the departments in Raytown are working on, so communication to residents, toolkits for residents, social media updates, information on the city's website, mass communication services. Any way to get information out. Parks Department, have a contractor hired to manage parking at Terry Copeland Park. It will provide about 250 parking spaces. 20% of that will come back to the city. Increased private security, especially on game days, reserved porta potties for park properties. Medians and beautification areas mulched by contractor before the events, and they have also reserved additional dumpsters with the influx of folks. We're anticipating an influx of trash too. Police Department, maximizing available personnel resources during event. Communication redundancy plan for citywide departments and with regional partners. Continued information sharing across city departments relative to upcoming events. Implementing special response plans to prioritize potential hotspot or problem areas by monitoring parking situation, overwatch on pedestrian traffic, and attention to foot traffic patterns, specifically on game days. And you can anticipate there'll probably be quite a bit of foot traffic with not having parking at Arrowhead. It's going to be parking sprawl anywhere they can outside of that, whoever didn't want to participate in the ride share. So Public Works or block off streets as needed, work with police and emergency management to secure city property, adjust traffic signals as needed and respond to events. Community development, is this where you want to talk about short-term rentals?
Yeah. So as you know, as the community development director, I was asked to look into this Airbnb issue or the short-term rental possibility for Raytown. I know that some cities are doing other things, as Ron is the community development director, but I looked into this before the switch, so I just wanted to kind of touch on this. So what we're proposing is a moratorium on enforcement, no inspection or certificate, no ordinance change. That's for the short-term rentals. For food trucks, Ron could talk about it, and any other, if you guys have questions, the department directors are here, so after the presentation, you can ask questions, obviously. So food trucks are allowed with the proper licensing and proper property owner's permission. So we anticipate an increase in food trucks. And for liquor licensing, since the state has lifted that requirement, We are recommending, or will do, the holders of any liquor license for sale by the drink can serve between the hours of 6 a.m. to 5 a.m. as the state law dictates that they can now, but at the business owner's discretion. So we just assume, are all the businesses going to want to stay open that long? Probably not, but maybe an extra couple of hours or so, I would think, would make sense. Next slide. So I kind of wanted to break down the short-term rental pros and cons, because this was kind of a topic of discussion. And I know some cities they have a short-term rental ordinance, and so they're charging yearly $350 to $300 for the year. And initially I was like, wow, might be worth it, but they've dropped that for FIFA. Parkville is a $0, and Lee Summit and Independence and Kansas City $50. So when I run the numbers, so I kind of was looking at, as a city administrator, the pros of short-term rental and the cons. And you could see the pros for a city would be the certificate fee revenue, which would be $50, and the potential of having a dwelling that is safe, or someone could assume is safe. What if it's not? The enforcement aspect of that. What if we go in, they don't have water, it looks dirty, what do we do with that? We're spending a lot of time to try to get that home for a $50 fee, and is it worth it for the city? The cons, again, staff cost. What if the property fails? What if they don't comply? What if we say, well, you can't do it, and they do it anyway? Which, 90% of the people that operate short-term rentals are unknown to the city. So that's just a common statistic. Homeowners insurance also does not cover any damage unless you carry business insurance on your home. So that's going to be something we're going to send out on social medias for people to be aware of, because if somebody rents your home, they damage your home, they leave, there's no recourse, and you cannot claim that on your insurance. So that would be a negative. And we don't want to reverse an ordinance change. If we had an ordinance change that allowed it for a short period, to pull that back and put the toothpaste back in the tube is very difficult. And then people are used to running a short-term rental, and to get them to stop at that point would be difficult. So I did run some numbers. We have around 8,500 homes in Raytown are owner-occupied. They anticipate 1.5% to 2% of people wanting to rent their homes. I just kicked it up to 5%. If 5% of owner-occupied homes in Raytown rented, that's 425 short-term rentals at $50 would be $21,000-ish. Let's say 1 hour of staff time with 2 staff, admin, and the inspector, we would garner about $3,000. So I just, and we do not have the ability to collect the transient guest tax. So the state has given the city of Raytown the permission to do that, but it has to go before the vote of the voters. So that has to be on the ballot to collect that tax. So that's why we are just going to have a moratorium on it. And that's it. If I have any questions. And any of the department directors are here also for questions. Thank you, Ally.
All right, anybody have any questions? I'm sorry, I can't hear you. Oh, yeah, but she has, if you have any questions right now, that's why I'm doing that. Anybody have any questions at this point? Ms. Hayden.
Just a quick question. You said on game day, the Royals will still be playing?
So the Royals will still hold home games during the period of World Cup, the operational period of it, but they won't have the home games on the same day as a match game.
Okay, so are they gonna have to redo the construction and the closing down of the parks, the parking lots and that type of thing during the Royals games, or?
So they didn't mention about Royals games parking, if they're going to allow it. My assumption was they will, but they will be doing security sweeps after every game and before every World Cup game, because they can't keep the perimeter secure.
You need to turn on your microphone.
Oh, sorry. I understand it's going to be barricades all the way around the Royal Stadium and around the parking. So I'm assuming they're going to have to remove those barricades.
They are portable barricades.
Oh, okay.
So
Okay.
they might have some jersey barriers in some places. I don't know what their plan is, but for the most part, they have the portable barricades.
Okay. And then my last question is the moratorium on the Airbnbs. We have ordinances right now Yes, on Airbnbs.
We do not allow them.
Okay, we do not allow
We do
them.
not allow
But we do allow short-term, or, no.
We allow rentals, but not short-term rentals. Anything under 30 days is considered a short-term rental.
Okay, but during the World Cup, we're gonna
Yes.
just remove all the,
We
that
we won't
moratorium.
enforce it. By the time, if we received a complaint, by the time we wrote a ticket,
I get it.
enforced
Yep.
it, yeah, they would be done. So, yeah.
It's crazy.
Communication. How are we going to communicate with the residents to know what to expect, how they're going to get back and forth to work? Is anything going to change? How are we going to communicate?
Hello, Tony Alexander, Public Information Officer. What do you have for us?
Good evening. So we're going to put together a toolkit, and it'll be something like 10 things for residents to know, which would include like who to call for what, a map, just things that generally they need to know if they want to participate or if they don't want to participate in the activities or things that are going on around the World Cup. And so we'll haven't quite figured out how exactly we're going to get that out because everybody gets their information different ways. So even though we'll make sure that it's on digitally, we may also need to mail something out because not everybody is online.
Okay, yeah. Okay, thank you.
All right, Ms. Mim, your light is lit. Oh, no, I'm sorry, that's yours, Josh. Sorry about that.
In one of the many committees that I've a part of over the last couple of years, we had a discussion about camping. And I was wondering, because people who fly in, but maybe they're not planning on staying in a hotel, public use of spaces for camping or backyards. I just don't know what the conclusion of that has been.
We could ask the police chief. I think we're going to case by case that.
Okay.
Because if it's, we're not going to, some people are just going to do it. Even if we say we're not going to allow camping, it's illegal in these instances, people are still going to do it. What do you do when they do? Are they causing a problem? Are they going to be there overnight? And here's the chief, too.
Hello, Chief.
Chief.
How you doing?
Evening, everyone.
I would think it.
Yes, good
We're not gonna
question.
leave you out.
That's okay. I figured there would be a moment. We're going to try to basically act as more of a QRF, like a quick response force for the higher priorities. The priority will be public safety. If it turns into a disturbance or a problem, then we'll probably engage at the appropriate and discretionary level of enforcement, but the discretion is going to bump up without question as it needs to, because the other thing we don't want to do is, let's be realistic, some folks that come to this, they've mortgaged their houses to get here. And when they get here, they're probably going to try to figure it out on a daily basis. So we're going to do the best we can to assist with that without having to infringe upon everybody's rights to a degree. Will there be camping? Sure. Is it going to be allowed in people's backyards? No. But we will also use the appropriate level of enforcement versus, nudges, because we certainly don't want to brand Raytown as the international place where, the family got hauled away down the street, because optics are important. But, so I think to your question, it's really hard to know. I think that there's a wide range of expectations from everything, and it's going to be completely off the rails, to it'll be fine. And I can tell you that it'll be what it's going to be, and it'll probably be somewhere in the middle. So I think what we'll try to do is be proactive. We'll try to be helpful. We'll try to assist. We'll try to emphasize the serve and protect, and then take care of the higher level people to keep them safe, depending on, weather and a bunch of variables that we don't have any control over. So I guess bottom line up front is we're going to control the controllable and expect the expected with it as much as we can. But basically every day for us will be in light pencil. But I don't think that the camping will be quite as extensive as people think it will. However, it could be. So possibilities and probabilities. It was a long-winded answer to a short question, but there's so many unknown variables. We're just going to sort of be at the ready. We've pretty much exception time is absent exigent circumstances is nobody's allowed to take any, so everybody will be here. And Does that answer, or do you want some more details in general?
Microphone, please. Microphone, please.
No, that was it. I was, public spaces, I didn't know if we were allowing that in parks and things like that.
Yeah, I think that public spaces are probably the place where there'll be a lot of latitude.
Okay.
Because the other thing too is, you have to be really careful not to set a precedent, in one side of the fence and not the other side of the fence. And as I said, I think there'll be a degree of tolerance built into our plan, but that really doesn't have definable beginnings and ends. It'll be really case by case. If they're raising a ruckus and causing a problem, creating a disturbance, being unsafe, we'll take whatever the appropriate action is there, but it will be done with professionalism and respect.
Thank you. We go this way, Mr. Walters, Miss.
Chief.
Hang on just a second, Mr. Walters. Mr. Walters, you guys turn on your lights again? Turn on, which is it? Okay, Mr. Walters, then Mr. Krezak, or Miss Krezak. Go ahead, Mr. Walters.
Yes, I'm concerned about the camping at our public parks and also on private property. I understand that the trail, the bicycle trail that runs through Raytown, that there will be somewhat of a general cleaning of that before.
A what?
General cleaning out of that. There's a lot of people that are living along that trail. I don't know if you're aware of that or not. And that are, for lack of a better term, indigent. That is their home, where their tent is, or wherever they put their sleeping bag that night. I have questions about two different items. One would be liquor licenses. I, for one, do not believe that it's a good idea for us to allow sale by the drink between 6 a.m. and 5 a.m. I think that in fact, I understand that in Lee Summit, correct me if I'm wrong, I understood they were looking at ways to circumvent that. Am I correct?
I don't know. I've not researched that.
Okay. I think it's worth researching. I understand in Independence, they've said they are not going to allow it. And that would be another one that we could look into as well, or I can look into that one for you if you want me to. But I think that we're opening a can of worms there, particularly if you get things that just get out of hand. I don't understand. There's some things I don't understand about the tournament. They have a stadium that seats 70,000. They're limiting it to 60,000. It doesn't make sense, but that's neither here nor there. I'm concerned about the park department. I understand from the young lady's presentation that we are going to have security, extra security by the park department. I'd like that expanded upon. Does that mean there will be extra security during the days and evenings?
Let my partner in crime come up.
I will let that happen. And
Dave Turner, Park Director, can
Also-
you answer his question for him, please?
All right, yeah. We did hire a parking company, Park at Casey. They're going to make roughly $2,400, $2,500 a day on game day. We're going to take that money and turn it into private security hours in our parks as much as we can do. And as well as on top of the nightly checks that we have, we're going to have them working the days during the game days. Most of those games start after 6 p.m., between 6 to 8 p.m. So we'll bring our security staff probably starting at 2 on those days. Okay. And that's to also watch out for camping in the parks, as well as just have a presence on our properties, specifically up at 53rd Street and Raytown Road, the new Terry Copeland Park, because that's where we know we're going to get parking going on. There's going to be a lot of people walking by there, terminating there, and then having to come back after a game. And they may be feeling pretty good by then. So we need to have some eyes on that location. And that's how we're going to pay for it. The parkers are going to pay for the security.
So you will be, the revenue that you make off the parking at that one park in particular
Yeah.
will be used to pay for security at the
Yeah.
other parks. That's good to know, and I will certainly let my constituents know, because I have one of those parks in my ward, as you are well aware.
Right. And we'll probably just add somebody at that property as well as getting our checks at the other properties throughout the night. So that's kind of
It's going to
what
be
I-
a popular venue. I can tell you that. It's so easy to find. You will have people there. We've got enough trouble with people who are going there now that aren't supposed to be there after curfew.
Right.
And the weather gets warm, which it will be, they will be staying. I can assure you of that.
Well,
But it's good to know that you will also have people there during the daytime too.
yeah,
Okay.
especially during those game days. And, last year, our security did a much better job. Between April and the end of October, they made 580 contacts with people that were trying to stay after hours. So it takes a lot. It takes an effort to address 580 curfew violations in the parks properties.
My next question is back to you, Chief. If there's somebody comes in and starts coming onto private property, your enforcement will be like 100, what will your enforcement?
Which, this just depends on the situation.
Like
can't-
if they're
I
not
can't draw-
welcome and they decide they're going to sleep there anyway?
What's that?
Like if they're not welcome and they decide they're going to put their tent up in your yard?
Private property is one thing, like your house or your front yard.
That's what I meant.
Yeah, your home turf will remain, your castle will remain safe. The property that you own will remain safe, and we'll enforce appropriately for that.
Thank you. I'm just glad to hear that. My next question is for the city attorney. How do we determine what we can, if anything, as to changing those hours from 6 a.m. to 5 a.m.? Our city ordinances say they close down at 1 o'clock, I believe, don't they? Or liquor by the drink?
You're right. I mean, yes. So what is your question? Sorry.
Okay, how do we make that the rule of the law in Raytown to keep it that way?
It's really going to be the board with regards to what direction that
I
they
mean,
want us to
we've
go.
already got it on the ordinances, that's our law. So do
Right.
we just make a resolution to go?
Well, I mean, it's a-
To not allow the later hours?
No, there's nothing that you need to adopt or anything like that. It's,
Well, right
Staff
here it
is saying
says,
is-
holders of liquor license for sale by the drink may serve between 6 a.m. and 5 a.m. the following day at the business owner's discretion. I don't like that. I don't like that discretionary power be given to a private business owner who might make a lot of money at it, who may not.
So if I may, the state gives a liquor license, then the city gives a liquor license, and the county gives a liquor license. So what the state says, okay, you, Mr. Bar owner, your license is at 1. Now, as the board, you can say, because the state lifted that, so we can't say as the city, the state says you're open till 1, but you can open till 3. We can't do that. We can't trump the state on their liquor license. So whatever, so they have removed that liquor license caveat. So we are able to remove that liquor license for that period. They've just lifted it for that period. I mean, whatever the board decides, that's just what I would recommend, only because if it's a festival, we're so close to the stadium, if it's a festival kind of environment, let's say somebody wants to open up till 3.
I'm
Make the
not
money.
so concerned about people having a good time or anything like that. I'm more concerned of some of the fallout that happens when people drink too much, particularly for an 11-hour straight period.
So I can
And
understand
that's what
that,
the
but
activity-
whatever the board would want is the hours that we would set. If that's something that you would all
So
like
in other words,
to,
bring it back as a resolution, would that suffice?
yes. I mean,
That's-
we would have to, if you discuss it, we can discuss it, and then.
if the
come to-
board's direction is to bring back something to regulate or to shorten that period of time, we will bring back the appropriate document.
All right, thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, Ms. Mims.
I would really want to thank all of you that's got your plan in place to move, which pretty much is like boots on the ground. And we'll deal with whatever happens, if it happens, and hoping that everything goes well. As far as the liquor license or whatever, the state raised it, and at this particular time is to get us through FIFA. Am I correct? Correct. I already know because I asked and I got it for myself, okay? So at this particular time, let's look forward to having a good time. I'm coming to camp in your park, but I'm only going to do it from the time you're at work. Okay? With liquor. Even though I don't drink, it'll be a Dr. Pepper, okay? But I'm just saying thank you for putting it together. And the young lady that presented it tonight, because it's everybody that's working. You got Jackson County, you got the city, I would like to see Raytown to be optimistic and work together for us to be a little proactive and, and to be positive. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Ms. Creedy.
I just wanted to be clear on where people can't park. I mean, when we're talking camping, we're also talking RVs. Can they go ahead and park in these where the grocery stores where there's large parking? Are they going to be able to do that? Have you decided?
So that's private
But-
property? Like if they wanted to park it at a grocery store and they got the grocery store owner's permission, then yes, they could park there.
Okay, but then you got park where you got several stores, you have to get them all to be on, well, actually, the landlord.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I didn't know how this is all going to play out, that they know whether what's legal, what isn't legal.
Yeah, we can only do so much. So, anybody else? Okay. Then we done with the city section? Chamber of Commerce, Jeffrey Hurst. The reason I've asked Jeffrey up here is because the ad hoc committee that I had assigned to do all this with the chamber, Jeff put this all together, and so you know what the city's doing. Now you can see the hard work that's also been done by the ad hoc committee, the chamber, the Main Street, everybody else. Let them know what all has happened, because it's pretty amazing what all you have been able to do.
Well, thank you for having me out here. I'm Jeff Hurst. I'm the president of the Raytown Area Chamber of Commerce and Tourism, and we have been meeting for monthly since February 2023 in regard to the World Cup, everything that you can do, can't say, all of that good stuff. And it's been a whirlwind trying to collect all the information as it changes, as this has been happening. But we do have a good plan moving forth. What a lot of has been covered by the department heads, but I would want to reiterate to Alderman Walter's point that the Rock Island Trail is going to be the only way that you're going to be able to walk to what is now Arrowhead Stadium, what will be Kansas City Stadium. So that is going to make a large thoroughfare right through the middle of Raytown, and that is something that we've been talking about in length. We started off with monthly meetings, just everyone trying to figure out what is going on, trying to wrap our brains around it and communicate that to the masses, of which this was a community event, so it involved chamber folks, non-chamber folks, the general community and whatnot. Last year, we started dividing up into subcommittees. One of the committees was revolving around safety and security, of which everything that has been brought up tonight was kind of brought up then. At that point, we were very excited for Aly Breeze to be coming to Raytown. So we got, like, that was the thing. And so we're very excited about that. Just to kind of go through some of the concerns and the items that were brought up, we're at about 141 days to go. So we are closing on it. There has been some news that the base camps, a couple hours ago, maybe, the base camps were announced. So I don't think there's been an official FIFA announcement, but everything has been changing quite a bit as we've been planning for this. We had one of the sub-meetings was banks and insurance companies. A lot of the credit unions in town that attended that meeting were not too terribly concerned, because their members usually have to live in a geographic location, so they didn't think that they were going to be impacted by this unless their credit union is inside of a Hy-Vee that could be very busy. They didn't think that was going to be a huge issue. What they are concerned about is foreign currency exchange and swapping those out, as the demographics will tell you only 68% of the visitors will have a card, a credit or debit card. And so they're preparing for that. FIFA has announced that the Treasury knows about this, and they will be involved while the folks are at the airport. Whether they're going to have to change that out, we do not know. That also was brought up at one of the church meetings, which was foreign currency donations and how to process those. And then on the banks and insurance companies meeting, it was brought up about the Airbnb, Uber, Lyft, DoorDash, Uber Eats, all the gig economy. They wanted to really make sure that they reiterate that if you do not have that endorsement on your insurance plan, that as soon as that is found out, like, oh, you got into a fender bender, were you delivering food? Yes. not covered by most insurance plans. So you have to have that special endorsement, and we've been communicating that as well. Also communicating that currently the Airbnbs are not allowed. So we're trying to get the word out there. If they're brazen enough or if they're outside the area, then they should make sure that they have that on their own homeowner's insurance. One of the groups that met and that have since then started to meet is what we'll have as a faith leaders meeting, which kind of would act as like a lay clergy. We have been compiling all the service times for these churches and religious organizations, talking about if they offer alternative language services. We'll have that posted up on our tourism website. We spoke about foreign currency donations. They're currently planning on having a prayer tent, or they're talking about having a prayer tent / water tent on the Rock Island Trail. It goes up behind the River of Refuge building. So they're looking to set up some tents over there, praying with folks, water, all that good stuff. They're talking about adopting a first responder, as far as different churches would have some of the first responders covered for meals, prayer, etc. Some churches have a strong AA or NA service, and so they're going to make sure those are going to be properly listed on the website in case somebody is visiting abroad and they need to take advantage of those services. And they're currently, one of the members in this committee is currently developing curriculum for emergency preparedness on I would consider like a scaled down scale. During these meetings, we brought up how logistically would we get everybody through like a CERT training. And it seemed like that's a very extensive training process. That's probably not something that we would want to do. However, they're developing curriculum that would get it to a 4-hour class of like just the basics, just enough to be prepared and feel like you were prepared. So they're talking about emergency preparedness training as well. The transportation plan is out. The closest thing to us is going to be the park and ride location over at Independence Center, and the I-70 drive-in are going to be close to us, plus the Three Trails Transit Center on the other side of town. Local events, I believe some of the local events are still planning on happening, and if they might have a larger than usual crowd, then that would be fantastic. The FIFA 26, the company that is the regional company put together to do this, we've been having the long-awaited game plan, or the playbook. And so this is available for download on their website if you haven't got it already. They do stress that this is a living, changing document. So every time you do need to reference this, if you go back to the source, refresh that, because this has been changing quite a bit. The plan is that we're going to take this KC game plan, overlay it with the different items that apply specifically to Raytown. The Chamber of Commerce is trying to make sure that everyone is prepared for copyright and trademark infractions, to make sure nobody is doing that. And there's lots of different ways that you can make them mad in that regard. So we're trying to make sure everyone is communicated with. But I cannot stress enough how every day we are teaching somebody that the World Cup is happening. And that is concerning. Some of these folks have businesses on Raytown Road. So, I mean, it is, I don't know what else to do communication-wise, because it's been out there, and we try to, we mention it at all, all of the chamber events, but so tonight, tell somebody that the World Cup is coming. And if they didn't know, then they do now. There's a projected travel profile as well. I don't know if this has been changed up at all, but largely 63% male, 68% will have a credit or debit card. The average stay is about 9.7 days. They'll attend 2+ matches or so while they're in. Only about 75% of them will actually attend FIFA Fan Fest. A little bit of a brief overview. If you had any other specifics, I would take those at this time.
Anybody have any questions for Jeff? Hey. Microphone, please.
I know you said that you talked about the currency. Have there been any discussion about having currency exchange like at the station? Because I can see restaurants, for example, like a Luffy's restaurant, for example.
I've heard good
having
things.
people come and have foreign currency, and especially since I thought I saw on your website or something, only 69% will be, or less, will not know English, will not speak English, or something like that. So we have.
Yes,
have the
Spanish and
language-
Portuguese is the two main languages that will be spoken. I don't have that specific, 41% of the international visitors will speak English.
There we go.
So the remainder is largely Spanish and Portuguese. However, there's a bunch of other languages in there, but yes.
So have there been discussion about that issue, the currency issue and the language barrier, where we have, we say $10.25 and then they give us.
The biggest
Okay, so-
discussion or the biggest concern on that is when they come to the point of entry. So whether that's at the airport, Union Station, however they're coming in, is the Department of Treasury is supposed to be really amping up communications as far as like, hey, you really need to convert your paper currency into not only credit card, plastic currency, but then the transactions are converted at that time as well. As far as our communication to like the business community has been, this could be a thing. As of right now, the language from the banks and credit unions that we've contacted have been, if you accept any of these payments, you can deposit them as normal, but it may take a few weeks. And there may be fees on that, kind of depending on your bank. So, but also in that same breath, one of the, there was a bank that we learned of today that was not doing any foreign currency at all. So it really is just a kind of dependent on your bank. But as far as currency exchange, currently, I believe both Arrowhead and Kauffman Stadium are cashless stadiums already. Yep. So I think they'll probably just maintain that same level, and then you put your cash in the machine, turns it into a debit card, and then they go from there. Hopefully that also carries over to Luffy's restaurant.
Okay. And then my last thing is just an update that I was able to see a lot of the KC game plan on your website. So does everybody have access to that? If they go to the chamber website, they can get to that KC game plan?
We're gonna
I
put
got
it in
as
the
a
locate.
newsletter.
I didn't mean to interrupt you. I'm sorry, but
ahead.
we're gonna put it made available on the Visit Raytown website, as that's our tourism kind of facing website. But also get the emails out to as many folks that can do it. It will be a live link though, minus the one that we put. We'll have like an addendum to it, like, hey, here's the game plan. Here's Raytown's game plan. It's a little bit smaller, but still. And so we'll have those available on the website for everybody. But I don't want to necessarily complete copy and make changes and put a fixed link on there just because this particular document is just constantly changing. Yeah. The transportation plan was finally announced, and it seems like it's going to take a bit to kind of go through that whole thing and find out what's going on.
Just wanted to say, my last statement is just thank you and all the committee for all that you've done for all of this time. I can't believe that some people are still saying, we're not prepared. We haven't been, again, meeting since 2023. So we have been meeting and trying to prepare for this. So it's a little offensive, I think, when people say that Raytown is not in the know and we haven't been preparing. We've been preparing for a long time. So thank you and everybody that's been on that committee for all that you've done.
Ms. Creedy.
I wanted to speak on the international currency. Nobody's going to be carrying cash. They've got international cards. They just let their credit card company know I'm going to be in the United States, and it's going to convert. And yes, the merchant fees will be higher for us to process than usually domestic. So in case I have international customers, that's how it works. So like I said, nobody's carrying cash. Now, I will say whenever we've crossed the border to Canada, to my late husband's home country, he always converted to Canadian dollars before we crossed the border because it was cheaper to convert here than over there. So, but most of the time, when you're in another country, you don't want to have cash.
Well, that's the concern, because the
Well,
FIFA demographic is what told us that they won't be carrying cards.
yeah.
And so
Really?
that's the concern. It wasn't us just assuming. It was, hey, FIFA said that 68% of the visitors, the 650,000 visitors, only 68 will have a credit card. And
I
so
want to remind everybody, ADA requires that if you're going to speak, you need to turn on your microphone. So please make sure you're doing that. I've heard a lot of conversation up here the last 5 minutes that nobody's had their mic on. So please make sure you follow that so we don't get in trouble with ADA, okay? Mr. Frazier.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I just want to share, I've traveled to Europe 15 times, so I know that people do carry cash from out of the country. When I go to Europe, I get my euros or any other country I go to from the Raytown Bank on 350 Highway. They do the same thing. Wherever I've gone in Europe, we give them the same credit card. There's never a question. It'll be the same way with Loopy's or any other restaurant. If you take a credit card, they can walk in and buy dinner and walk out without talking to you. That'd be pretty easy, and I think most people that follow soccer, because they follow soccer all over Europe, are used to traveling, and they're pretty well prepared. I don't think the currency, from what I've seen, will be a problem. And, you know, anytime I come back with foreign currency, I take it back to the Raytown Bank, and they just change it back for me. They use it usually on the spot, so it's a pretty easy process.
yeah, hopefully it's not an issue whatsoever. It was just concerning that it was something that they decided to put into the visitor demographics. Like, oh, well, that's intriguing. So
Yeah, I think most of the people don't use the airport to change money because that's the highest rate you're going to pay.
there'll probably be more folks at, or like I said, the Department of Treasury probably will have something set up at the airport just for that reason.
And we do have actually one of the Federal Reserve banks, and right here in Kansas City. Missouri has 2 of the 9 or whatever they have.
All right. Would everybody that is here on staff and anybody else, including you, that was involved in any of this, because it's been a huge effort. I wished everybody was here so everybody could be thanked. But if you would all stand up so everybody can see you, at least on camera. All of my staff, all of our staff, aldermen that were on the committee. Up. All right. I want to tell you all, these are just a small number of people who have put in a ton of hours in getting this all to where it was. When this started out, it was just, I wasn't sure how we were going to get here, because it's one of the reasons I did the ad hoc committee, because FIFA has so many rules and it changed literally at that time every hour. Am I right?
Yeah.
And so we had a lot of work we had to do to keep culling that down to where it is now. That's why we waited until now to let everybody know, because some people say, why are we know? How come we don't know? The reason is because if we would have done it 6 months ago, a year ago, we would have had to change it so many times, everybody would have gone, well, you guys don't know what you're doing. Perfect example of what you said, Ms. Hayden, and I appreciate those comments. But what I want to say is thank you all. Thank you, Jeff, everybody in the chamber, the aldermen that were on that committee. You guys can sit down now, I'm sorry. Because it took a huge effort. And we can say, well, what if, all we want to. We are as prepared, and we will continue to prepare as things come down the pike. It's a fluid thing. And when things come up, we have our professionals out here. That's what they're here for. Jeff is a professional. The people on his chamber that are involved in this are professionals. So my heart is you guys and all of us working together will get it done, and it will be the best that it can be, and hopefully a great turnout and a profitable thing for everybody. And everybody have a good time, and when they get back to their foreign country, whatever that might mean for us, at least they'll know the Raytown, and what it was all about. And we have some more stuff that we're going to be doing to make sure that Raytown is at the center of it and people know that we're here. Is that fair enough?
Fair enough. I would say if we're not prepared enough this go around, we'll be ready for the next one.
That's right.
Well, thank you, Mr.
Thank
Mayor.
you, Jeff Hurst. Thank you so very much. I
Thank you,
appreciate
Mr. Mayor.
Ms. Bims.
I was, Mr. Mayor.
Oh, you're welcome. You're welcome.